We'd come in off the road. This is when I was working with Shenandoah.
Mhm.
We'd come in off the road, and we wasn't leaving back out again, until the weekend. And then we were going to be gone for a few weekends. So anyway, we'd been out and probably had spent a week and a half on the road or something like that. And, man, I thought, man, when I get to the house, son, I'm gonna go down to the old lamplighter, and son, I'll make a few phone calls. We're gonna kick our heels up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd went out and that kind of stuff, and never realized. Of course, we'd been snorting cocaine, and them old boys had some, so I snorted it, and of course drinking, and playing music. Man, you can't go nowhere, Marty. You got to get that guitar. You got to get the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd sing, and we'd sit around, and then somebody else would come and play and that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, I don't want to get sidetracked here. Anyway, that's kind of what that was, and literally I woke up on the couch that morning, and I say that morning is because I didn't realize, because of the condition that I was in. Look, I'd been gone 4 days, and didn't even know at that point when I woke up that I'd been gone 4 days.
Mm.
Don't know how I got to the couch.
Mm.
Don't have any clue whatsoever. Don't know how I got home. I just know good and well that, when I got up there, I didn't feel good. And I thought, well, I'll go downstairs and I'll get me something to drink. Because, see, I'd have to hide that stuff. Because if I didn't, my wife would pour it out.
Yeah.
So I had it hid out, in all kind of places.
Good for her.
And well, yeah, I'd say good for her now.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't liking it back then.
No, I didn't care for it much. In fact, we had refinished our basement, because at that time it was just nothing but block walls, and what I'd realized is that that after I was saved, that I'd found liquor and beer in places that either I'd have had to been drunk and real limber to put them into places I'd put them, or else I'm a contortionist. But anyway, so nonetheless, I thought, well, as bad as I feel, when I stood up, I was so woozy headed I couldn't stand it, and my heart was about to literally beat out of my chest. In fact, I literally could hear my heart beating when I would breathe. I could hear my heart beating in my breath, and I thought, man, my heart's gonna bust wide open. Man, people die like this.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so I thought, well, I tell you, if I'll make my way downstairs and stuff, I know where some beer is, and I'll coast my way back up and get straightened out because we got to work this weekend. So, and like I'm saying, not knowing what day it was, anything like that. Anyway, so nonetheless, I went down and I got me something to drink, and I'd sat down on a milking stool and I'd pulled up under. I pushed a couple of paint cans below on a concrete floor. Remember, this is in March, but nonetheless, that concrete's still cold. Look, I'd have drank that beer if it'd been boiling.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'd pop the top, because all the way down them steps, I'd have to hold on to the wall because I was so swimmy headed.
Mm-hmm.
There's no telling what my blood pressure was.
Mm.
And anyway, so I'd keep holding on to the wall to make sure I wouldn't fall. And anyway, while doing that, I kept thinking, I feel bad enough I could die. Man, I ain't never felt this bad before. Man, I got to get me something to drink. Because, when I'd be hungover, I'd get me something to drink. Before too long, I'd start feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean drunk. I mean just from feeling bad to feeling better and getting kind of leveled off.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so nonetheless, I'd got me a couple of cans of beer. I'd slid them out of the way, and I'd pull that case out of there, and I'd taken me a couple of cans of beer out of there, and when I did, I popped the top on one of them cans of beer. Unless I had the audacity to ask myself at that time, if I were to die, would I go to heaven? Now, ain't that something?
Mm.
But see, I'd realized that if I did, brother, I was going to bust hell wide open. Look, when somebody would ask me, was I saved? I tell you, yeah, man, I'm saved. I've said the prayer. I've gone to church.
Gone through the motions.
Done all that stuff.
Yeah.
Always had great comprehension being the lead singer in the band. I didn't have to just remember the chorus. I had to remember all the songs.
Every word, yeah.
So therefore, I always had good comprehension. So in Sunday school, Sunday school teacher, would quote this Bible verse, and it's got, I jump all over it, because just had good comprehension. And so if anybody would ever ask me, said, man, are you saved? Well, yeah, John 3:16, Proverbs 3:5 and 6, whatever.
Yeah.
And could quote the scripture and say, well, apparently so. I guess he is saved. He knows the Bible. But see, I knew the Bible, but I didn't know him.
You didn't know the author of the Bible.
No, sir, I certainly didn't. I knew about the truth, but I didn't know the truth.
Yeah, right.
And I
That's
realized
two different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a heart knowledge of Christ more than I had I had a head knowledge of Christ more than I did a heart knowledge. It was so that morning I realized that, look, that was one I wasn't going to do. Look, I can sit around, I can tell folks, but that there comes a time when you literally feel like your heart could explode out of your chest. And I look, it's possible. And I thought, man, I'm gonna die right here on this basement floor. This is where I'm gonna die, on this basement floor.
Holding this can of beer.
Yeah.
So
I put that can of beer down. Never took a drink of it. Set it down.